Codesignal, arcade, array change. Hello everyone, I'll be solving this Codesignal problem, array change, and let's begin. You're given an array of integers, and on each move, you're allowed to increase exactly one of its elements by 1 to ensure they follow a strictly increasing sequence. And we want to find a minimum number of moves. I did preview this question a little bit because I want to get this solved ASAP. So let's see about this one. As an example, we have 1, 1, 1, and output should be 3. Why? Because when we compare this 1 with the previous value, they're about the same value, but we want to make sure it's strictly increasing. So we increase this by 1, so it should be, if you look at this example right here, you have 1, 1, 1. You really want to make it 1, 2 to make sure they're strictly increasing. So that's one move right there, increase by 1. Now this one is less than 2, so we have to increase this by 2, and there you go. It increased by 2, and therefore it's a strictly increasing sequence, and we're finished with this whole array. In that case, this takes 3 moves because you have to increase 2 values with a total of 3 times. Now, there's some other situations we want to consider. Let's look at the constraints first. Looks like there should be at least 3 elements, so we shouldn't be concerned if there's 0, 1, or 2 elements. We don't have to worry about those edge cases. And yeah, let's think about this. Some other cases to consider. Let's just play around before we solve this question. So if it's already strictly increasing, it takes 0 moves. If there's, let's just say there, oh shoot, really? Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now this is much different. Since 3 is less than 4, we decrease it by 2. Since 2, and this should be about 5 if we update that one. Since 2 is less than 5, we have to update it about 4 times to make sure that it is strictly increasing with the previous values. And this 1, we have to increase it by probably 6, if I remember this correctly. Or if I did this correctly. And that should be, now you should get a total of 12 moves. Now you can see there's some sort of idea of how I'm doing this. There probably is a better way to solve this. Oh, here, another situation. Let's play around one more time. Okay, so 1, 2, they're already strictly increasing. How about 2, 1? Nope, this one is not strictly increasing, so you have to increase this by 2, so that will make this a 3. And now 3 is strictly less than 4, therefore it only takes 2 moves to solve this problem. And I think they could be negative values too, but I don't think it really matters what the examples are shown. I think that applies as well. And you can see that sort of plan that I have is we start from the beginning and go to the end -1. And you might say, why? Because when we start from an index beginning from the beginning to the end -1, we're comparing the current index to the next index. Now, there's some situations we want to know. If the value at next index is less than or equal to current, we increment the next int value by the difference plus 1, because it has to be strictly increasing. And when we do that, we also, by the way, before we even start this question, create a move counter starting at 0. And here we increment the move counter by the difference plus 1. And at the end, when we're all finished with the list, we just return the move counter. So yes, this should take about O of n time, because we're doing this linearly, doing those calculations, and at most we really only need O1 constant space just to store that move counter. I think this is good, and I think there's a better solution out there. I can't really think of one. If I think of one better, I'll update this one. Int index starts at 0, and we don't want to go all the way. It's input array. Yeah, I think it's input array. Dot length -1 and plus plus. All right, next. Oh, and we want to return the move. Okay. Oh, plural moves. I know engineers are not known for grammar, All right, let's see about this. Now, if the input array, and as I said right here, the current index is greater than or equal to input array index plus 1, then we do moves plus equals. Oh, first we want to get that difference. Let's see, and that's when this one is greater than that one. So we just take this whole condition and subtract it, and we want the strictly increasing, so we do it like that. Plus equals difference, and so make sure that we could continue doing this comparison. We have to make sure that next value is updated correctly. Plus 1 is equal to moves. Oh, sorry, not equal to moves. We would increment it by those number of moves. All right, let's see if this works. Why have I gone wrong? What have I done? Oh, I see why. It's actually nothing wrong with the condition I did it. I should probably be more careful. What I did wrong here was, let me just go rewind. Okay. So let's see here. So instead of incrementing this input array correctly by the difference, I did it by the moves. It's amazing how, in coding, people say, oh, it's easy. You sit down and anything like that. You just type some few fingers. Oh, good. But if you make one tiny mistake for a company you work, it costs millions of dollars because you put one wrong parameter, hot diggity, you're in big trouble. And you know what? Just a quick tip. You're supposed to know how to do this without hitting the run test button. So I'm probably not being a good role model, but you have to know how to do this code and run through your code before running it. Because in real life, you have to, you might have a little sandbox environment, but you just want to make sure you have full confidence in your code and don't waste any resources running your tests. I hope this was helpful. What I did again was create a move counter. I iterate all the values from beginning to end minus 1. And that's the reason why is because I'm comparing two adjacent values together to make sure they're strictly increasing. If not, I change that next value to a value that's higher than the previous by the difference plus 1. And there you go. You continue on. You also update your moves counter by that difference. And you get those moves. All right, guys. Well, take care and stay healthy.